It's Tanhardt Tuesday, and we're recapping the Daytona 500. I'm just going to tell you right now, this was the best Daytona 500 we've seen in like 7 years. And if you disagree, I want to know why. And I want a sensible explanation, not just this stereotypical NASCAR Facebook fuckface hate towards the Gen 7 race car, because we get a lot of that. We have people that have given up on the Gen 7, and no matter what happens in any race at any time, they will still hate on it because it's the Gen 7. It's just like the COT era, guys. If you were alive, if you were a fan during the COT era, everybody, even when they would put on a show, even at the super speedways, like the 2010 Daytona 500, one of the most underrated 500s ever, 2009 Talladega, 2010 Talladega, they would put on a show, pack racing, tandem era, no matter what, and people would still eviscerate the car tomorrow. It was just an unjustified, preconceived hate towards the race car because it was a COT. And we've got this now at the Gen 7 with your Facebook fuckface NASCAR fans that are 87 years old minimum. I don't want that. I want sensible explanation as to why you didn't like the race, because this race was awesome. This was an amazing Daytona 500. I think it was the best one we've seen since 2017, which was when everybody was running out of fuel and Kurt Busch won that race. And it's because we did not have a wreck fest. We had high quality racing. We had strategy. We had nerve-wracking moments. We had tense moments. The whole race, top to bottom, was compelling. I have not been compelled like that during a Daytona 500 in a long time. I mean, literally from start to finish, it was an amazing race. I think more fans actually hate this. I don't. But the fuel saved during stage one, at the end of the day, did not matter. Because guess what? All your Pied Piper, super speedway legends, all made it to the front by the end of that race. The only one that may have not was Denny Hamlin. He was getting up there. He was creeping in the top lane with about 15 to go. But Brad Keselowski sat in the back all day, made a third lane straight to the front with 10 to go. Logano up front, 10 to go. Ryan Blaney, he was like a lane behind Logano. He's up front, 10 to go. Kyle Busch, who literally could go back to front no matter what at any point in that race, up front, 10 to go. I mean, your best drivers at the super speedways found their way to the front, regardless of the fuel save we had in stage one. So, I mean, it's just a weird thing to hate. If that's the reason why you want to hate this Daytona 500, you're weird. And not like cool, kinky weird. You're like smells bad weird. If that's why you hate the Daytona 500. You're like, that's weird. That guy smells terrible. That's what you are if that's your reasoning to hate the Daytona 500. I'm a facts guy only. Let's move on. Stage two was awesome. I do want to say at the end of stage one, you had that fuel strategy, which was good, I thought, because it's the most unprecedented fuel save I've ever seen. I thought it was unique. I thought it gave a lot of drama to the end of stage one, and you still had a last lap pass to determine the stage winner. Stage one gave you everything, and you had one big wreck at the beginning. And maybe not one big wreck, but a medium wreck. Shout out Jimmy Johnson. I'm a Jimmy Johnson hater. It was good for the Tanhardt, Dadhart family to see him get knocked out early. We appreciate that. Stage two, very good racing. And we learned at that point you could go 3 wide and make time. And that was one of the biggest skepticisms amongst all these fans is the Gen 7 is just double wide, gridlock, no matter what. This race on Monday proved that we could go 3 wide in this car and make ground. Guys were making a third lane and they were going back to front like it was nothing. Kyle Busch is a great example of a guy that it didn't matter what lane he was in. He could go back to front. We proved we could pass at will. We proved we could make a third lane. And most importantly, we proved we could have a great high-quality race, high-pressure situations, green flag pit stops, and not have big fucking wrecks. Yes, we did have one at the end. As product of super speedway racing, it has been in the restrictor plate era, especially since like 2001, 2002, with big crashes. It's just part of it. But over the past 7-8 years, Daytona's been a graveyard of torn up race cars. It's been a complete junkyard, especially with the Daytona 500. This race was not a junkyard, and it was the first race that wasn't a junkyard in like 8 years. I'm so proud of what we saw on Monday with the Daytona 500, considering the tone was set early with trucks being a shit show, low etiquette style of racing, just wrecking all over the place. ARCA, we know what ARCA is, also continued that tone in a horrendous way. And the Xfinity Series race after the 500 was a wreck fest too. The Daytona 500 shined, guys. I couldn't believe how good everybody was during green flag pit stops. Maybe you had 2-3 speeding penalties during green flag conditions, but the drivers executed, the teams executed, the blends where everybody was getting back on track. It was amazing. It was amazing how the strategies played out. It was amazing how those blends would play out when everybody would get back on track. The Fords are coming, Toyotas are getting on track, Chevys are up here. It was fucking awesome, guys. This was an amazing Daytona 500 start to finish. Stage 2 ended up last lap pass. Same thing. Using a third lane, by the way. And then stage 3 was just adrenaline pumping racing, 3 wide, 3 lanes deep. Everybody shoving so hard, holding onto the race cars, driving on edge. And yes, we did have the one big wreck. I don't want one big wreck to cloud a race. I think that's the wrong way to look at these type of races. Because, courtesy of Trey Ryan, I think on Twitter, tweeted out that this was the lowest amount of cautions in a race, in a Daytona 500 race, since 2004. That is insane. That's with stages. That's with stages, guys. That's unbelievable. And 2004, yes, Dale Jr. won that motherfucker, but it was a very boring Daytona 500 when it comes to the whole field was spread out. They had a new tire combo where the drivers were on edge. There was considerable tire wear. The track was bumpy, and it made it where you didn't have pack racing, and you had a very, very spread out field during that Daytona 500. I appreciate that kind of racing, but everything's changed in 20 years, and in 2024, you had pack racing, hard racing for at least 70% of the race, and you only had one big crash. And then you had the crash at the end of the race, and yes, it fucking blows ass when a race ends under yellow. There is no doubt about it. We all hate that. But that should not be what sways your opinion on the quality of this Daytona 500. This was a very high-quality Daytona 500. I think it's the best 500 I've seen since 2017, maybe 2016. And if you agree or disagree, I want to know why. And I want sensible opinions, not Facebook boomer fuckface opinions. Hell, Twitter's getting clouded with that type of shit too. But I want sensible opinions on what you liked about the race and what you didn't like. To me, the one thing I didn't like, other than the race ending under yellow, which always sucks, if the drivers are frustrated about the fuel saving thing, then I'm with the drivers, right? I want the drivers to be right. That will make the sport better, I think, if the drivers have more say in what's right and what isn't. I didn't mind it during the race, but knowing that this could be a problem in the future is one thing that does mean something, right? You can agree with both. You know, you could have enjoyed that level of strategy early on in that race, but you can also recognize, oh shit, Eric Jones is right. This could be a problem going forward that we don't want to continue to see happening if the implications of fuel saving grow more and more in other super speedway races, because you never know. If this happens again like we saw spring 2023 at Talladega, where everybody's fuel saving at the end, maybe that's a problem. If we're going 160 miles per hour in a big pack to try to make it to the end, a lot of people may not like that, and I do understand that. In this particular moment, though, I thought it made stage 1 of the race very compelling. So those are the two negatives: race end under yellow and the problem of fuel save for the future. But overall, man, this was an amazing race. This was a high-quality Daytona 500 with storylines, with narratives, with action-packed racing. You got your big wreck if you want the chaos, because some people do like that. I also like William Byron. I'm a fan of the 24. Benjamin Bill's a good guy. Hendrick Motorsports, that's the narrative, right? The narrative that everybody missed 40 years to the day is the start of Hendrick Motorsports, and then they go 1-2 in the Daytona 500. But no, this was an amazing Daytona 500, guys, and I want to know if you agree or disagree and why, because I'm shocked if people disagree other than, you know, their favorite driver wrecking out or their hatred towards William Byron or Hendrick Motorsports. The fuel save, you're just a weirdo if you think the fuel save is a problem. For the whole race, if you hated the race over a stage 1 fuel save, you're a fucking weirdo. Respectfully, of course. And then the last lap caution, right? Nobody likes that. I understand, but it shouldn't cloud a quality race, end of the day. This is a great Daytona 500. Congratulations to William Byron, Hendrick Motorsports. This has been a Tanhardt Tuesday recap. Maybe we'll do this every week. I don't know. But I'm really happy because I bet on William Byron and hope you did too. Regardless, I was very, very happy with this Daytona 500. Best one I've seen in at least 6-7 years. I hope you guys feel the same. Let's enjoy